At least 3 persons have been killed, several others injured, with 500 cattle rustled in a fresh attack in Maradun local government area, the hometown of Governor Bello Matawale of Zamfara State, in the early hours of today. And that's according to the chairman of the local government, Ahmed Abubakar. Mr. Abubakar, who spoke to our correspondent, Idris Jibrin, says the bandits stormed Faru last Monday and Bachiri on Saturday, while the attack on Gamagiwa was carried out earlier today. He says, "My local government is under siege. They're attacking our communities and villages virtually every day, and the military cannot overpower these people. We record 4 to 5 attacks on a weekly basis. People are dying, others are being kidnapped because the security forces are not well equipped to fight these people." End of quote. All attempts to speak to officials of Operation Sharandaji were not successful, but the chairman told Channels Television that villagers are taking refuge in the local government headquarters. Another building has collapsed at Adesoya Street in the Mafuluku area of Oshodi in Lagos State. No fatalities have been recorded, and that those trapped under the rubble have been rescued and are receiving medical attention. The Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASIMA, says the building is structural defective, and in the integrity tests will be carried out on adjacent buildings to ascertain their suitability and durability. Our correspondent, Dare Idowu, reports.
Cut enough, but not to this crowd. They watch as men of the State Emergency Agency walk at the scene of what is becoming a recurring incident in Lagos. An unfit old building undergoing renovation but caved in before serving its new intended purpose. Eyewitnesses say the building was in bad shape and the renovation by the new buyers seems cosmetic.
They intended to make it a church. I don't know the name of the church, but about 4 days ago, they erected 4 pillars downstairs, just inside the building, probably trying to hold it together for the auditorium, whatever. So, and work has continued since then till now. But the building is really, really in bad shape. That's the truth of the matter. Ever since, at least for more than 6 years, it has been in bad shape.
But the son of the owner says the building was in good shape.
Okay, the building has no issues whatsoever. The building is in proper state. What really happened that there is a renovation that's going on. So I just believe God wants it this way, so it has to happen like this.
With the emergency workers' excavator at work, a 1-ton 2-story building is now being pulled down to avert more danger.
The one is at ground zero. You can see now that we have made it safe. You get what I'm trying to say? We've condoned the area off. So the LASCA will take it over from there. We will inform our other stakeholders, which will handle that. We have handled the golden hour, and we are happy about the results we have.
Demolition of unfit buildings has received extra attention in Lagos after the collapse of a 3-story building at Massey Street in the Tafaji area of Lagos Island, where school children died in March this year. Daridu, Channels Television News.
In South Delta State, some families are mourning the death of their children who were swept away by floods following heavy rainfall in the past few weeks. They're appealing to the state government to fix the problem of erosion, which increases the risk of drowning. Other residents are also demanding an immediate remedy in order to prevent further losses. Our correspondent Vivian Oramadike reports.
Earlier in the year, the Nigerian Meteorological Agency predicted that most places would have between below to normal amounts of rainfall. Areas affected by this prediction include 18 states across the 6 geopolitical zones. It turns out that the prediction is not exactly accurate in the case of Delta State, which has been experiencing flooding occasioned by torrential rainfall, and in some cases, deaths have been recorded. In Opanam community, a 12-year-old girl has been swept away by flood, triggered by a heavy downpour which lasted several hours. Parts of Asaba, the state capital, and its environs were also submerged. Barely a week after that, tragedy strikes again. This time in Ali Bioba community in Ika South local government area, where a raging flood claims the lives of two brothers, Testimony and Godwin Okwokenye. 11-year-old Godwin is said to have fallen into a gutter in front of their home and was swept away by the flood. His brother, Testimony, attempted to rescue him and was also swept away. Sympathizers commiserate with the parents who are devastated by their misfortune.
The two children, Testimony and Godwin. Testimony is 15 years of age and Godwin 11 years. And two of them were not in the house. I started looking for them. Somebody told me that the erosion have carried them, that the Godwin, who is 11, fell inside the water, and Godwin tried to rescue him, and both of them went this way.
My heart is burning inside of me. To lose two sons at the same time, same day, is a very hard thing that I've never seen before in life.
Like the entrance to the home of the bereaved family, erosion is also a real threat in other parts of the community.
Even you yourself, if you come here when the rain is falling, you cannot be able to tell what will happen in that gutter, because the erosion that comes here is very, very heavy, that even when a dog car here, it can carry car.
The Secretary to the State Government, Mr. Chiedu Ebiei, commiserates with the family and asks residents to apply caution during the rainy season. The Delta State Government says it has been making efforts to improve flood and erosion control with the construction of massive stormwater drainage in parts of the state. Given the recent tragic losses, such efforts must be replicated in other parts of the state. Vivian Oramadike, Channels Television News.
Nigeria's engineering industry has been described as competent and capable to driving the much-needed growth and development across the board if fully harnessed. That's according to a US-based Nigerian consulting and engineering icon, Greg Tomopoulos, who believes the major limiting factor is size. According to engineer Tomopoulos, Nigerian engineering companies need to increase their capacity to be able to undertake massive projects and be at par with large establishments in other parts of the world.
My observation, and I've said this, I said this when I visited Nigeria 8 years ago, they need to be bigger in size. Unfortunately, most Nigerian companies are not as big because they do not merge or consolidate, and when they grow, then some of the people leave and form their own companies. As a result, it is very difficult from a capacity point of view for them to undertake large projects. And I'm talking about projects with multi-million-dollar construction costs. And if you're building a bridge today, it costs a lot of money and you need a lot of staff. And if you don't have 1,000 or more people in your organization, it's very hard to be able to undertake multiple projects that are big. We have to fight corruption. We have to rise above and maintain the ethics and integrity of the profession. And when we do, I think you'll see better outcomes of projects. The money allocated to the projects will be better spent. Those who are supervising the jobs will make sure they build properly, not because someone has told them to look the other way by giving them money under the table. Those are some of the symptoms of the problems that still plague the developing world.
To politics, human rights lawyer Mr. Femi Falana has criticized the attention the federal government is paying to the report on the 2019 general election submitted by the European Union election observers. A senior advocate of Nigeria expressed his displeasure in a statement where he says the report of the EU is being celebrated by all stakeholders, including the media. He points out that while the reports of the local monitors have been ignored by the federal government and stakeholders, many are advising the federal government to adopt the EU report in its entirety. Mr. Falana insists that before the report of the EU on how to conduct credible elections is adopted, the federal government should also implement recommendations of the Justice Muhammad Uwais panel, Ahmed Lemu panel, and Ken Namani panel on electoral reforms. According to the rights advocate, the recommendations and the report of the local election monitors are much more relevant than the report of the foreign observers. Meanwhile, human rights group Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project (SERAP) has made good its threat to sue the Code of Conduct Bureau over its claim that it could not disclose details of assets declarations submitted by successive presidents and state governors since 1999. The CCB had last week refused a Freedom of Information request by SERAP, insisting that the assets declaration form is private information, and releasing it would offend the president's and governor's right to privacy. SERAP argues in the suit filed at the Federal High Court in Lagos. Asset declarations of presidents and state governors submitted by the CCB are public documents. Public interest in disclosure of the details of asset declarations sought by SERAP clearly outweighs any claim of protection of the privacy of presidents and state governors. End of quote. SERAP is seeking, among other reliefs, an order of mandamus compelling the CCB to release specific details of assets declaration submitted by successive presidents, vice presidents, the National Assembly leaders, state governors, and deputy governors. The declarations made between 1999 and 2019 are to be published widely, including on a dedicated website. SERAP is also requesting for the release of information on those declarations found to be false and deemed to be in breach of the Code of Conduct for Public Officers. No date has been fixed for hearing of the suit.